In Objective C, we're just going to graph base E exponents and find the graphs of its inverses. Now, what does the graph of y equals e to the x power look like? Well, this is just an exponential function, and the base of this exponent happens to be the number e. Remember, it's about 2.718, and it continues on. So we're used to seeing some exponential functions. Maybe it's y equals 3 to the x power. That's where the base is the number 3. Well, this is just base e, it's called. Now, what they're going to show you here is what if they graphed various functions. They went in and used this compound formula here and started graphing it. Now, as the function actually approached the number of Euler's number, what happens is we see kind of this blue graph right there, this really tight one. This is what it becomes. So this is the graph of an exponential growth, really, with base e. If they asked you about this, just like any exponential function, this does have an asymptote. The asymptote is the x-axis, which is the line y equals 0. Its domain is all reals, but its range is all the values greater than 0. So let's try to find the inverse of this function. So to find the inverse, we're going to flip the x and the y, and we get this right here. Now this is an exponential function where y is the exponent, and I need to get it down at the regular level. The only way to do that, we learned, is to rewrite this as a logarithm. So what I'm going to do is start at the exponent base e, so this becomes log base e. It's log base e of x equals y. Now, that is the inverse function. But I'm going to tell you, we don't normally write log base e. Log base e is actually called the natural log. So what you're going to see on your calculator, there is a button next to the log button. It's ln. That's the only other log button on the calculator. This is log base e of x, or the natural log of x. And let's take a look at the inverse on the other slide. So we just looked at the other slide that we took the e to the x power, we changed out y and x and solved it, and found out that these were inverses of each other. So we know that this graph here is the inverse of this graph. And we have them both graphed. Here's the graph of e to the x, which is exponential. Here's that line, y equals x, that we see inverses flip over. If you take the blue graph and flip it, you will get this equation here, which is the natural log of x. Now, what do we know about the natural log of x? This actually does have a vertical asymptote. So its vertical asymptote is the equation x equals 0. The domain on the natural log here are all the x's greater than 0 because it can't ever equal it. And the range of this for the y's is all real numbers.